Our FLC, UDL plus Psychology, is focused on helping dependent learners through technology and innovative, equitable teaching strategies. Let me give you the background on our FLC question, show how it was changed by the pandemic, and share some learning experiences and future goals. This inquiry question was inspired by my online teaching experience at El Camino. I noticed college freshmen struggling to start online course and to stay on track. In a nutshell, it comes down to 3 issues. Technical issues, mental models, unpreparedness for college, and fear, lack of trust. For example, Johnny hasn't logged in the first week, and he didn't respond to my follow-up emails. I called in and I was lucky to talk to him. He didn't know how to access ECC email, Canvas, and was unsure when the course starts. Of course, all this information was available on the website, and it was in the course welcome email. So, Johnny lost a few weeks of instruction and had to be reinstated. I gave him a walkthrough on Canvas, ECC email, and the course structure, but he continued to struggle, this time with his study schedule, finding time for the class. Here is another example, email from Peter, who misunderstood his first assignment. He thought I was asking for digital sketches, but I was asking for the hand-drawn sketches, a beginner-level easy task. Sometimes students overlook the assignment instructions, which can be improved by adding videos to the assignments. Many of these issues can be resolved by simple communication, but it's not that simple. Sometimes it's a semester-long process to establish this trust.
A big learning experience I could say from this class in general would be to don't be afraid to interact and ask questions with your professor about certain assignments, because our professor was a big help, especially during this time, like I said.
Let's zoom into the mental models. Lack of time management skills, lack of self-awareness in terms of learning, they don't know what they don't understand, lack of communication skills, which also ties to fear to acknowledge the issue, and or fear of the instructor and lack of trust. In our UDL, we wanted to build a connection between technology and understanding student psychology. What can we do to overcome these barriers? In a face-to-face classroom, it can be resolved easier. Now it's every teacher's problem. On the flip side, the pandemic brought up the positive aspects for some students. For example, there are no more school bullies. Introverted students thrived.
So what I saw was that my least engaged student, whom I'm going to call Tom, suddenly became the stellar student. He began working, looking for the information online, and coming from an F, Tom has an A now. On May 11th, 2020, he said to me that he wanted to get an A. He began working, he had questions, he got his answers, he did all his work, and he is the student that I would say most advanced that I ever had. Are we failing the online prodigy because he's in the classroom? This is what I think we should do. Create an online instruction for the students, not just to do at home, but to give them access to these instruction in the classroom so they can become collaborators in a more student-centered platform. I know this might not be so easy to do in a college level because we do have a lot of information to cover. But at the high school level, we would be able to help the students succeed, the students who are dropping out, the students who are not engaged. If every student becomes a Tom, then we are really doing very well.
Since the pandemic started, I have received questions from my colleagues transitioning to online instruction. So let me share some strategies I have been developing in my online classes. Most of my students prefer asynchronous communication, even though I do offer online office hours. Of course, they signed up for the online class from the beginning. With the pandemic restrictions, we will have a mix of students in online classes, so it will be a new learning experience for everyone. How do you know when students are struggling in an online class? I found weekly surveys to be very effective. Of course, they're only effective when students fill them out or respond to the instructor's question. Many times, the struggling students don't communicate adequately. I find it the most challenging. If only we could establish trust and good learning strategies from the start, it would be so much easier. So, how do we help dependent learners? One way to achieve this would be through adaptive learning. I tried this in my web design class this semester, and it worked really well. I used the questionnaire to unlock the content based on the student's interest and technical needs. Another way to build a connection and achieve a high level of engagement is through videos.
When we consider the uses of video within the context of COVID-19, within the context of safer at home and being off of campus, we kind of have an unprecedented situation. And it is undoubtedly, in many ways, a silver lining of the situation that many faculty reached out to video as a tool to help them connect with their students. And there are two main formats that's taken. And from my perspective as distance education coordinator, I have data on one of those, being Panopto. I don't actually have hard data on Zoom, on Confer Zoom or Cisco WebEx usage, although I also think that we have to count those and consider them in the context of how faculty have reached to video as tools to help them connect with and create a baseline of engagement for their students. But we know that whether faculty were continuing to do essentially synchronous instruction, meeting at regularly scheduled times, or providing synchronous opportunities for students to meet while converting a class on the fly in emergency remote instruction to being primarily an asynchronous course, either way, the vast majority of faculty at El Camino have to some degree employed Zoom or WebEx, or in some instances even Pronto, holding either lecture or small group meetings using the Pronto app. And now again, I don't have numbers on that part, but I think that when we consider uses of video and the way that video is used as a tool for both engagement and for creating connection, a baseline connection with students to motivate them, I think that we can't underestimate the use of video conferencing. Now, meanwhile, I do have some data to share with you regarding Panopto in the context of COVID-19. And this doesn't touch on everything that's been done with recorded video because some faculty were not necessarily comfortable with Panopto. I can say that over 100 showed up for what was originally scheduled as a 16-person training the week that we went remote, essentially. But since that point in time, we have 385 people in Panopto in the creator role. That's 385 people who are making videos in some way, shape, or form. And we have 7,836 users total. So that means tracking, student view as well. How many students have been watching these videos? Close to 8,000 users total. Probably call it somewhere around 7,500 students, roughly, given the number of folks we have in the creator role. In addition to that, we have data that indicates we have over 59,713 unique viewers of different videos. So that is not necessarily unique viewers, but across all of the different videos, that there have been 98,122 views and downloads of Panopto media that have been developed. And if you think that number is astounding, we have what is this, 998,669 minutes of media that have been delivered. I think it's still astounding to consider the raw number of minutes that we've delivered essentially since COVID-19 started via Panopto alone as a video tool. Now, when it comes to universal design, Panopto certainly has helped with the fact that it has the capacity for the auto transcripts and auto captioning. Closed captioning has gotten better with Panopto, but there's some distance to close the gap in that respect. Not all faculty are necessarily fixing captions. Captions have improved. Auto captioning is not perfect, obviously. At the same time, we have, through collaboration with the SRC, found workflows that also has made it possible for sign language interpreters to work with videos after the fact. So in terms of just reaching a raw accessibility level, in terms of the role that Panopto is able to play for us as a part of universal design to create access for all students, there's something very promising and very positive there. I think that if I were going to conjecture, I would say that even in the event of a return to campus, we will continue to see more video usage take place simply as a result of the unfortunate but necessary shift to emergency remote instruction. So those are some considerations around video usage in relation to our site research, as things took a rather different turn than what we were expecting.
We talked about videos in the assignment instructions to resolve Peter's issue. I also use videos in the introductory module. For example, a video in a welcome letter provides the instructions on how to access Canvas. It helped to increase retention, although it wouldn't help students who don't check ECC email. The video on the homepage provides Canvas navigation instructions. I also have an introductory video on course expectations, as most online courses do. It is followed with a video on learning strategies, which ties with Help Alisa assignment. The students are asked to help Alisa, who is overwhelmed by multiple priorities. I should thank Christy Danielle Di Gregorio for introducing me to On-Course Workshop, where I got the idea for this assignment. It has significantly helped to increase student retention. I've been also using videos in assignments to explain the requirements. Here are the examples of video discussions that promote thinking and create interaction. They help humanize the course and match in-classroom experience as a punctuated lecture. I also used videos as a summative and formative assessment. As my colleague Joy Curtis rightly mentioned, they don't know, they don't understand. So questions in the videos help to make students aware of those learning gaps. Students find them very helpful. These are just examples. It really takes a village to solve these barriers.
This health crisis has shown to me that we do need to establish a more equitative learning system. We have to put platforms for the students to go there and choose. The student must be able to get access to some kind of information that would allow him to work not only in the classroom, but at home as well. And my experience has been that the students who had good study skills, who have good learning habits, are those who are going to bring those skills to the platform and are going to do very well. The students who do not have good learning habits, who are talkative in the classroom, who are not paying attention, those are the ones who are not doing well.
This side project certainly gave us a great opportunity to reflect on possible solutions, and we will continue to improve on this. Even though we didn't have access to the big human data, we just got a step closer. In the future, I hope to compare the student demographic with student success and to develop additional tools and teaching strategies based on the specific needs and personality types.